Following a wave of controversial political town hall events across the Midwest, U.S. Congressman Eric Burlison is facing backlash over his decision not to host an in person town hall event. Thanks for tuning in to our Ozarks First Digital Desk. I'm anchor and investigative reporter Lauren Inman. Protesters are now planning to gather outside the Republicans' Springfield office this coming Thursday, March 13th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Protesters chose Thursday because Burleson is scheduled for an in district day on Thursday. So they spoke to event organizer John Jennings, is who I've been in touch with. He said he spoke with someone on Burleson's staff who confirmed that Burleson is in town that day, but did not say whether or not he would be in the office, and told organizers the lawmaker likely will not be available to meet with the group on Thursday. They're planning to meet regardless, and I talked to him ahead of that event about why they felt the need to protest.
Main reason why this protest is happening is because many of us within the district are feeling unheard. Just from my own personal experience, when I originally called a couple of weeks ago and spoke on the phone with staff, I honestly felt like my concerns, I don't mean to say how anybody's feeling, but I did feel like my concerns were brushed off. And then when I spoke with other individuals, they have shared the same story where their emails aren't returned, their calls or messages aren't answered. And it creates this broken loop where we are reaching out to our representative, but we're not getting anything back. So the hope is that by holding this event and kind of mobilizing the community to have this town hall outside of his office, we can fix that communication loop and he'll be able to actually hear from us directly. And hopefully we'll be able to engage in dialogue and hear where our representative stands on these important issues.
So can I ask what were the concerns that you reached out to his office about?
For me personally, my concerns were about what is happening within the Office of Doge. I know that our congressman is on the Congressional Doge subcommittee, so he kind of even has a closer relationship than most would. Um, I just expressed that I felt that there was executive overreach, that this administration was going beyond the bounds of what they're constitutionally allowed to do.
I did email back and forth with someone at Burleson's office, and asked if there was a town hall in the works. He said, the man that I spoke to said that they are planning something for the end of March, but they plan for it to be virtual, and they will share those details and logistics as soon as it's planned. I did ask, the reasoning behind the decision to hold a virtual town hall as opposed to an in person, and did not get a response. So I was doing some looking at Burleson's social media, and it shows that he hosted a virtual town hall last year as well. And even then, if you go and look at the comments, whenever his staff announced that virtual tele town hall is what they're sometimes called, some of the commenters on that post a year ago were also taking issue with the possibility that Burleson's team could potentially be filtering incoming questions and comments in an online setting. So I talked to Jennings, the event organizer, about some of the same concerns that he shares.
Your concerns when it comes to teletown halls, the biggest is it creates an artificial environment where they control every aspect of the event. They pre-screen or pre-select every question when you call in. They ask what you're going to talk about. And I guarantee you that if you have a question that they don't want to answer, you will not get through. So by having this in-person direct engagement, it allows people to go unfiltered and to be able to express a diversity of viewpoints that you may not otherwise get if they're controlling the messaging.
And what's interesting is that this follows a trend that we're seeing around the Midwest, really, where lawmakers are being confronted by constituents in large numbers who are asking for answers to questions. And of course, the questions and the concerns depend on the person, but a lot of what the coverage is showing is that constituents want answers about federal job cuts. Um, And so there was some coverage from our affiliate station that shows a town hall meeting hosted by Republican Senator Roger Marshall in rural northwest Kansas. It included some questions and answers, shouting, applause, there was booing. And the video shows Senator Marshall ultimately leaving the event when he's questioned about veterans being laid off. So I have some video of that coverage from our affiliate out of Joplin. I'll play for you. Out of Wichita, I'm sorry.
A contentious town hall meeting hosted by Senator Roger Marshall in northwest Kansas this morning. Take a listen.
We have a lot of folks that have traveled a long ways to be here. This is really Oakley's town hall. I'm going to try to focus on their questions. I'm going to say this one time. If you all keep cutting me off, if you're rude, which you're being, I'm going to leave. The people from Oakley don't deserve this. Thank you. All right.
Can we see a raise of hands?
Okay, this is what I'm talking about right here, that if you're going to keep interrupting me, we're not going to do this.
Percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans. And that is a damn shame.
Yes.
Yeah. That is a shame. I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I'm not gonna. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
We reached out to Marshall's office to ask follow-up questions and request an interview. We were sent a statement from his chief of staff saying Democrat operatives sabotaged a local town hall, saying in part, quote, real Kansans overwhelmingly support President Trump's DOGE initiative, shrinking the size of the federal government and firing career bureaucrats. Senator Marshall is to be commended for staying as long as he did.
Okay, so that was the coverage from our affiliate station in Wichita. There was another similar town hall that happened within days of that in Belton, Missouri, and that was with Congressman Mark Alford of the Kansas City area. And there were so many people who showed up to this event hosted at a coffee shop that the people who were interviewed afterwards, the constituents, basically said, I can't make heads from tails. There was so much shouting, I couldn't tell you one word that the congressman said. So that was rather confrontational too. And both of these cases or instances of confrontation at town halls happening just within the last few weeks. So it's unclear if those incidents and the trend there is contributing at all to Burlison's office moving toward a virtual town hall, or if it's unrelated. I will say I was looking at some of the history for Missouri's Congressional District 7, which includes Springfield and like the southwest corner of Missouri, pretty much to Oklahoma, Kansas, and Arkansas to the south. It's pretty much our little corner over here is Congressional District 7. So before Burlison held this office, this is now his second term that he's been elected to, it was Republican Representative Billy Long, who was in that position from, it would have been 2011 to 2023. And as far as I can tell, I know some of you watching this probably have lived here longer than I have and could correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell from our archives, our partners' previous coverage, the last time there was an in-person town hall event hosted by a congressman in District 7 would have been 2011, the year that Billy Long was elected to that position. So that would mean it has been 14 years since there's been an in-person, face-to-face opportunity for constituents to meet with their elected official in Southwest Missouri. So I think that is also part of the concern here that protesters are bringing up. So they plan to hold that protest Thursday from 11 to 1 outside Burlison's office here in Springfield. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We'll see you always on air and online at ozarksfirst.com.